In the previous section, you learned that the foundation of Arizona's real estate laws comes from four key sources: constitutional law, statutory law, administrative code, and case law. Among these, constitutional law holds the highest authority. It defines the fundamental rights and privileges that guide every statute, rule, and regulation beneath it. One of the most significant constitutional provisions for real estate professionals is Article 26 of the Arizona Constitution, which grants licensed real estate brokers and salespersons the legal right to prepare and complete real estate contracts and related documents. This section not only empowers real estate licensees to perform vital functions in real estate transactions, but also establishes clear boundaries between the duties of real estate agents and those traditionally reserved for attorneys. Understanding Article 26 and the landmark court case that clarified its meaning is essential for every Arizona licensee, as it defines the very scope of what you are legally permitted to do when drafting or completing contractual forms. Historical context of Article 26 before Arizona adopted Article 26. Real estate brokers and salespersons were prohibited from drafting or filling out contracts, deeds, or other documents affecting the legal rights of buyers and sellers. Only licensed attorneys could legally prepare such instruments. This restriction created unnecessary expense and delay for consumers, particularly in straightforward real estate transactions, where standard forms were sufficient. In 1962, Arizona voters approved Article 26, officially amending the Arizona Constitution to provide the following: any person holding a valid license as a real estate broker or real estate salesman under the laws of this state may prepare all instruments incident to a property transaction, including, but not limited to, preliminary purchase agreements and contracts, but only in connection with a transaction in which such person is acting as agent. This constitutional amendment was revolutionary because it carved out a limited exemption to the prohibition against the unauthorized practice of law. It acknowledged that licensed real estate professionals, when acting within their agency relationship, could fill in and complete standard contractual forms for their clients. Legal significance. Empowerment with boundaries. Article 26 gave Arizona real estate licensees a unique privilege not found in most states. It allows brokers and salespersons to prepare purchase contracts, listing agreements, leases, and other documents related to property transactions, but only when those documents are part of a transaction in which the licensee is acting as an agent and are created using standard, pre-approved forms, such as those developed by the Arizona Association of Realtors. However, Article 26 does not grant the right to give legal advice or draft customized legal language beyond filling in factual details, such as names, prices, dates, and property descriptions. Doing so could still constitute the unauthorized practice of law, a violation of both the Arizona Supreme Court's rules and the Arizona Revised Statutes and Rule 31 of the Rules of the Arizona Supreme Court. Case law interpretation. State Bar of Arizona versus Arizona Land Title and Trust Company, 1961. Before Article 26 was enacted, the Arizona Supreme Court addressed this issue directly in the landmark case of State Bar of Arizona versus Arizona Land Title and Trust Company, 90 Arizona 76, 1961. In that case, several title companies were preparing real estate contracts and deeds for clients without being licensed attorneys. The State Bar of Arizona filed suit, arguing that this constituted the unauthorized practice of law. The court agreed with the State Bar, ruling that only attorneys could draft legal documents affecting property rights because such activities required legal judgment and interpretation. The decision emphasized that even seemingly simple contractual language could have complex legal implications and therefore required professional legal expertise. This ruling caused widespread concern within the real estate industry. Brokers and salespersons who routinely assisted clients in completing basic contracts suddenly faced potential legal penalties for performing tasks that were central to their profession. The public outcry led directly to the constitutional amendment of Article 26, which restored limited drafting privileges to licensed real estate professionals. This amendment balanced consumer convenience with legal safeguards by permitting agents to fill out forms in their transactions while reserving complex legal drafting for attorneys. Practical application for Arizona licensees. Today, Article 26 allows licensees to fill out standardized forms such as the Arizona Association of Realtors, Residential Resale Real Estate Purchase Contract, the Exclusive Right to Sell Listing Agreement, or a Residential Lease Agreement, provided the forms are approved for public use. Example 1. An agent representing a buyer fills out the AAR purchase contract with the buyer's name, offer price, earnest money amount, and proposed closing date. This action is allowed under Article 26 because the agent is acting as the buyer's representative and using an approved standard form. Example 2. A licensee drafts a custom rent-to-own agreement with original legal language written by themselves, rather than using a standardized form. This would exceed the authority granted under Article 26 and could constitute the unauthorized practice of law. Example 3. A broker advises a client that a specific clause in their contract guarantees no liability for future roof repairs. This constitutes legal advice and violates the boundaries set by Article 26. Instead, the broker should advise the client to consult an attorney for clarification on legal interpretations. Review summary. In this section, you learned that Article 26 of the Arizona Constitution grants licensed real estate brokers and salespersons the authority to prepare and complete standard contractual documents related to real estate transactions in which they are acting as agents. The State Bar of Arizona versus Arizona Land Title and Trust Company, 1961. Decision originally prohibited non-lawyers from drafting contracts, but the adoption of Article 26 reversed this restriction in part, recognizing the practical role of real estate professionals. Key takeaways. Authority granted. Article 26 permits licensees to prepare documents related to property transactions, provided they are using standard forms and acting as agents. Limitations. Licensees cannot provide legal advice or create original legal documents. Legal foundation. The amendment arose in response to the 1961 Arizona Supreme Court ruling, balancing the public's need for efficiency with the protection of legal integrity. Discussion 1. Why was Article 26 added to the Arizona Constitution? Answer. It was added to allow licensed real estate professionals to prepare standard real estate contracts and forms without being accused of unauthorized practice of law, following the restrictive 1961 State Bar case. 2. What are licensees prohibited from doing under Article 26? Answer. They cannot give legal advice, interpret contract provisions, or draft custom legal language. 3. How does the State Bar of Arizona vs. Arizona Land Title and Trust Company case relate to real estate practice today? Answer. The case prompted the adoption of Article 26, defining the boundary between legal services that require an attorney and the clerical preparation of standard forms that real estate licensees are permitted to complete. 4. What should a broker do if a client asks for legal interpretation of a clause in a contract? Answer. The broker should advise the client to seek counsel from a licensed attorney, as providing legal advice exceeds the broker's authority under Article 26. Closing remarks. Article 26 represents one of the most important intersections between law and real estate practice in Arizona. It gives licensees the ability to prepare the documents necessary to complete a transaction efficiently, but it also reminds professionals of the limits of their authority. Understanding this balance is essential to maintaining professional integrity and avoiding the unauthorized practice of law. When you fill out a contract, you are exercising a constitutional privilege granted to you as a licensed professional. Use it wisely, adhere to the statutes and rules that guide your practice, and always know when to refer your clients to an attorney. In the next section, we will explore the role of the Arizona Department of Real Estate, ADRE, and how the commissioner enforces the statutes and administrative rules that stem from this constitutional foundation.